Alright, another day for me in the shop. So, where I left off the other day, I think that was Wednesday for me, it's now Sunday. What am I doing? I'm putting batteries into a metal cabinet and building the solar stuff. So, where are we up to? So I have these ones in. I grabbed the spare one of these that I had and hooked that up to the inverter that's up there. What else have I got? I've got to put that on today. I'm going to move this whole thing over here. So obviously those have all got to go in. So I'm putting 3 lead acids in the bottom because I've got 3. And I've got 2 lithiums to go on the top shelf. I've got a third one on the way. So I've decided I'm going to move the whole cabinet because it's getting to that sort of time where it's going to be too heavy to move. So it's obviously going to go here, which means I need to put those on, and get rid of this shelf. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully. We'll see how Murphy goes. Alright, so first things first, get all this rubbish off here. Get this old shelf out of here. Just out of curiosity, how straight is this thing? Yeah, it wasn't. That's why they put that bit on there. So I might just leave that there, I think. Oh, it's gone too far the other way. Alright, now we've got a bit of a cleaner area to work with there. This will be going in there. So I've still got to just trim a little bit out of here and then find what's going to be level. So I will cut this up first and then level it up. So we'll have a bit of an overhang just cause, not for any particular other reason. Okay, one cut up piece of wood. Now I've just got to trim that little corner out. And one little notched out piece of wood. Surprise, surprise, my piece of wood isn't square. Alright, let's see how flat we go. Alright, so I have these spacers that I used on the ceiling. For those that remember the steamer episode, it was a nice big failure, but when I replaced the ceiling piece, I ended up using a couple of these just to space it down so that it would match up and line up properly. So I reckon if I just put one of these under, it'll probably be enough. That's obviously why they had different sizes of things. I wonder how much difference that would make if I got rid of all that. So what I might do is I've got some glue here still, so I might just try and shear that off as well. Maybe I just get the grind on it, just to flatten it out a little bit. And then I'm actually going to screw the piece of wood down into the brick. Okay, so clean all that off, looks a bit better now. So the problem is that this brick here is actually sitting up a little bit higher than the rest of them. So what I'll do is I'll just see if I can get it flat and bypass that bit and see how that goes. Right, so that's about as good as it's going to get without doing some severe amount of brickwork, which I'm really not interested in doing. So I've got a tiny piece of shimming just here, which seems to stabilise it a little bit, but I don't think it's really going to matter that much once I put some big bolts going into the brick. I should just be able to tweak it when I put the bolt in. So I'll glue this piece down, so I trim it up a little bit, and then my plan is just to use the concrete screws, because I have a couple of those left over from another job. So I've got 2 of these. I'll glue that down because I'm going to have to countersink the hole a little bit just so that it fits in there flush, because I plan on actually using this as a shelf and then building a couple of shelves for other things on top of it. So we'll do that. So I think I'll put one screw in on this brick and then one screw into the brick that's here behind, because it's 2 bricks wide, just stuck together pretty roughly. Since they did such a fabulous job of using liquid nails last time, I guess I'll just do the same. Yes, I do have a proper tool for doing this, but I'm being lazy. Mainly because I don't know where it is. So these are a 10mm head. So obviously I just want to go a bit bigger than that, just to give myself some breathing space. So 18 is the first one I picked up, so that's what I'll use. Using my magic eye of roughness. Alright, and see if we can screw it down a bit flattish. How about I just leave it like that? Because that says flat. Alright, time to sweep up some mess and move some things around. Time for a new broom handle, you think? Alright, time to bring the cabinet over. Thankfully the keys don't hit the glass. Alright, now I'll just pick up where I left off the other day. And the first thing I want to do is screw this up. And of course it's going to go there. So now I'm going to have to pull it out again. That's okay. It's not very heavy yet. Okay, so that's that one on. While I've been standing here drilling those holes and mounting that up, I was just thinking, I've got this one mounted here for this one. I'm just wondering, I reckon I've got some more of this aluminium I've got here, but I went and bought some proper 20mm stuff so I didn't have to keep cutting it. Plus also I'm going to be putting on the batteries, so I didn't have enough. But I'm thinking I might cut a piece like that and put it on there. So it just means I've got to swap the incoming line to this side, which I don't care. And then I'll just put the other one on there. So I'm thinking I might do that. So it's just less cable flapping around like that. Doesn't mean that I'm going to have an exposed positive rail sitting there, but most of the time that'll be closed up, so technically won't be a problem. Please let me know in the comments if you vehemently disagree with me, but I'm going to do it, and then if there's good enough reason, then I'll swap it back again. But in the meanwhile, we'll put this little tiny key one on. Because this inverter is only 600 watt from memory. So the only problem I've got is I might not have enough length on my negative. So what I could do then is, because it's going to be running off the same battery as this inverter, I might just run it to this one and then run the positive for that one, obviously. Sorry, the negative straight down for that one. We'll see. So I think the only thing it's going to do by me changing this is I think I now don't have enough length in the piece of aluminium I bought this morning to do what I want to do now, because I think it's the right size. I might have enough. Time will tell. I have to go and buy some more and so be it. Okay, one piece of aluminium. Now wait a minute. Alright, let's see how good a measure a bender cutter or I am. So it looks like my aluminium bar here is hitting the fan grill for this. So I'm just going to put this piece of plastic in here. Oh no, actually not touching it at all. Just felt like it was. Alright, I don't think I've got anything else that I'm going to bolt in here yet. Probably should consider that very, very quickly, because once I put those batteries in, I'm not going to want to pull it out again, am I? I don't think so. All the solar stuff, all the controllers and stuff are going to go somewhere else yet. I still haven't actually quite decided. It's only that contactor there for the small inverter there that needs to sit there now. Batteries will be obviously in the bottom cabinet. Power points are all going here. 12-volt outlets going here. Now I think I'm good. Okay, so these were going to be my interlink cables between the batteries, but I'm going to use the big lumps of aluminium for now. Okay, so we'll mount the 12-volt box up next. So first thing we're going to do is get these tiny little hex screws out. Okay, so we have negative bus bar and a positive loop in. So I'm thinking I will mount it through here, and then I'll pop a big hole through there, straight into the back end of the cabinet to put the positive through. Okay, first hole's in. I've drilled all the holes in the unit itself already. So first hole's in, so I'll drill them through the hole in the box so that I make sure I line them up properly. So that's the box done. Next is to pop a hole through here for the cable to go through. Okay, as you can see, one nice big hole there now. So I'll just figure out what cable I'm going to run through there and get that sorted as well. Okay, so needing a few cables that are a little bit longer in length than I seem to have floating around. I did use these cables at the other shop. So these are actually from a set of jumper cables. So all I've done is cut the actual clamp off and basically turn that into a junction box. Sorry, into a connector. So I'm going to use the positive for the box over here. It's a bit of overkill, but that'll get it down to where the battery is going to come up to here for the contactor for this inverter. So it's going to go directly to the positive that's coming up for that one. And then I've got a negative here that'll go from the inverter here and actually reach down to the battery. Because the only other ones I've got are too short rather. So then I'm also going to then hook up this inverter and this box all off the same negative, because they're all going to be running off the same batteries down the bottom, the lead acids. And this one's just going to run off the lithiums. So that's what I'm going to get into next. So I have this slightly glorious mess of cables down here. So this one is the one that's coming up from the battery directly. So that's going to go to this one, which goes up to this box, and also this one, which feeds the contactor for the small inverter up there. So I'm not too worried about the drawing of power from these ones, because it's not going to be much comparatively to big inverters, obviously. Those three will be together, and this is the and this is the positive that goes up to this inverter. So once I get the other contactors, hopefully next week, they shall be right to go. Negatives, I've got my negative coming in from the box here. It's going to this inverter. This inverter then feeds down to this inverter, and then this one goes down to the batteries directly. And I've got the positive and negative already for this one going through there. So the reason I had to do all that first was because once I put the batteries in the bottom here, I won't be able to put cables through. Well, sorry, not that I won't be able to put cables through, it's just going to be a bit of a harder challenge. So I'll just do up this box. So this turned out pretty well. These are also the battery wire crimping system they've got on these battery terminals. So I've actually used those as washers just to maximise my contact patch on there. As you can see, I haven't done this one up yet. I won't do that until I've fed these through the shelf. I've just got to do the rinse and repeat on the backside, and we should be good to go. So what I've got to do is put the negative on the other battery terminal over there. It won't reach the hole, I don't think, once I've got the shelf through. I don't even know how I'm going to reach in there. That's okay, we'll deal with that in a second when I've got the shelf in there. Okay, all the shelf's in there. Wasn't too bad. It's just the other cables for the lithium batteries are a bit too thick to move around very easily and readily. So now all I've got to do is hook the two plugs up and see how it goes. Okay, so quick run around. So you can see the three batteries and the two bars. The fuse is there and in and wired up to there. On the second shelf, we've got the cables there ready for the lithium batteries. So I've just got the plugs sitting in here, just all bolted together. So they're going up to this one. Where else does it go? Goes over to the box here, which I'll go to in a sec. And obviously the one that goes down below. And this is the one that goes to the inverter that's not quite ready to go in yet. So I've got power hooked up to this, and you can see that it's quite happily showing that I've got 12.8 volts left in there. Obviously I need to get the solar hooked up. But one thing I wasn't expecting is that this bit's actually on. So I'll probably just disconnect what's in my little green yellowy coloured tub there, just to disconnect power, because I thought these switches actually switched this stuff on. Obviously it's leaving the USB ports on all the time, so these two. So I've got a USB port there ready to charge whatever, and obviously the voltage indicator. I thought they were switchable. Obviously these switches switch these two and the two Andersons. That's fair enough. So I'll just disconnect that. But that's probably all I'll get to today. So once again, thanks for hanging around in the shop with me today. Hopefully you've had some fun and watched me make a mess of trying to drill some holes and get things lined up. That hasn't actually turned out too badly. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and share and all that sort of good stuff. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.